Well, hey everybody, we've got a bonus episode here on the bonus episode here on the Chasing Ebenezer show. It's summertime, and we're just going to talk about summer memories, things that we loved when we as a kid or love now, things we didn't like, and maybe me especially was super whiny about.
I can't wait to hear about those.
We could do, of all the things I used to be whiny about, oh my word, we could do like an entire season of Heidi's wine Rolodex.
I'd be up for that. I'd be up for that.
Yeah. Well, you know. Okay, first, let's name some things that we loved about summer when we were a kid.
I love not having to go to school.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing.
Ice cream truck. No,
yeah,
not for you.
Never did the ice cream truck thing.
You never did.
Well, and they didn't pop up that frequently in Virginia. Like I remember maybe one time.
Oh.
Maybe one time.
I loved it. We didn't do it very often, but it's interesting too when you hear that sound now as an adult versus as a kid. It kind of elicits a totally different reaction.
Well,
you can imagine, maybe you still love it if you're an adult, but I just think, oh no, that song won't stop playing. And but anyway, loved it. I loved girls wore jelly shoes. You probably didn't. They were.
I think I know what you're talking about.
This sticky. Google it. Look them up. I don't know. Were you a sprinkler kid?
Yeah, I mean, I think like running through it and standing up, I remember putting my feet on the sprinkler a lot. I enjoyed that.
Exciting power.
Yeah.
One of the things I most associate with was developing an addiction to diet soda, because when I was in, I think like first grade, that's when AM PM came, that I remember. They came out with these neon 32 ounce, they were called Thirsty 2, where you could buy the squirt bottle and then refill it for like hardly anything. And so I think that's when my diet soda addiction started. Okay. And I have tried so many times to quit, you guys.
It just doesn't happen.
I only had one yesterday.
Only one?
One can of soda yesterday.
I feel like I'm drinking that more than you are now.
Yeah, well, I have a huge problem. So I think about summer and soda. And because I worked a lot of summers as a server in restaurants, and you could have, unlimited soda. So
That's true. So yeah. I think that I tended to, when I think of summer, I think about they were called Mondos. They were these fruit drinks, and my dad and I would get them like when we would go camping. And I love like the blue flavored anything. I was obsessed with.
Nice chemical flavor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like blue Kool-Aid. I remember like making the instant Kool-Aid. Oh, that was so awesome as a kid. So I remember those, really enjoying those. Pools. I remember going to the pool.
Yeah.
Now I was one of those kids that I had a pool when I was like really little. It was an above ground pool.
You had a pool. That was before they were they're pretty common, I think, these days, those above ground pools. Yeah. But when am I wrong?
I don't know. I remember they were big in the 80s. Like that. My uncle had one.
Not in my circle. In my circle, they were not.
Okay.
So it was. I don't think I had even seen one until I was in like third grade. I didn't even know about what. So maybe I was just.
That's okay.
Not in the loop.
You weren't in the pool circle.
I wasn't in the pool circle. I actually didn't enjoy swimming that much.
You didn't?
I'm not a swimmer.
Oh, man. I still, like, when I get a chance to, I like swimming.
When I was really little, I was. But then once, But, mid-elementary school, it's never really been my thing.
Like, I remember being... my mom would have friends over, and we would all be in the pool, and then we would do the thing where we would all move around the pool, get the whirlpool going. Yeah, that was always really fun. And I remember distinctly that was the first time I'd ever heard Paul Simon.
Oh,
so
nice.
Like I bought a Paul Simon CD years later, and I was listening. I was like, wait a minute, I remember listening to this when I was a kid in the pool. I remember that.
By the way, somebody just received a beautiful vinyl.
I sure did, of Graceland. Such
somebody
a good
bought
record. Someone did who loves me very much. I was very grateful for that.
Well, and one of my favorite music videos of all times is "Call Me Out" with Paul Simon and Chevy Chase. Like, that is so, oh man, one of my favorites of all time. So, we were talking earlier, Ben and I didn't meet until, what, like 2000? Is that when we met?
Yeah.
But we had the same favorite summer movie year of, like, movies that came out the summer of 96.
It's all about 1996. Mission Impossible.
Which has another movie out.
I know, so it's out right now.
How many
Full
years
circle.
later are we, and they're still coming out, and then Independence Day. Oh, my word. Independence Day.
That movie was so good.
Oh, my goodness.
It was so good. I remember, like, seeing that multiple times.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that was probably my favorite year of movies.
96 was pretty magical.
Yeah,
now, I remember, it might have come out right before the summer, but the Twister came out in that same year. And I remember seeing that on the big screen. And I love tornadoes. I've never been in one, so I can say that I love tornadoes. But it was the closest thing to actually seeing a tornado I'd ever come. And it was, wow, loved it.
They were just that year. And we lived in Europe when those were coming out, so I can't remember if we saw them all in the summer or they came out in the summer and we saw them that year. But that's just what I always think about, is those movies that remind me of just awesome summers.
All right, so what did you not like about summer? Because everything's not to like about summer.
So many things. Well, one of them was being bored. That felt like death. We've talked about this before, but for some reason, just feeling.
Now, did you get bored quickly in the summer? Because I would get bored towards the end of the summer and like be looking forward to going back to school.
Oh no, it's like I didn't want to be in school, but I also didn't want to be bored in the summer.
Okay.
So I was a pill. Part of it too is it's pretty obvious that I am pasty white and I don't tan. I'm pasty or I fry. And so summer is always a challenge, been a challenge for me, because I just fry and it can be so miserable, and having to constantly put on sunscreen. So oftentimes, that was part of the reason I think why I wasn't a swimmer as much, because having to put on the sunscreen and then the all of that, it's just a pain, and then making sure you come out enough and then reapply, and then I also had a really long hair, and so then it would get all knotty, and then the chlorine. So there you go. That's just one or two of the things that I would get so cranky about.
Yeah, I think for me, when I was in middle school, I had I don't know. I got made fun of for my weight a lot. So because when I got into middle school, I went to the neighborhood pool and I went to my own, and eventually we moved and didn't have a pool anymore. So I would go, and I usually would have some stupid skinny kid make fun of me about something. So I didn't like that about the summer, because that was when you were doing those kind of outdoor kind of things. So I remember always feeling pretty self-conscious during the summer about how I looked. But I don't know. I think I don't get bored that easily. In fact, I like being bored. I like being able to take naps. I'm a fan of peace more than excitement. So
being bored?
Which means things are calm.
No, because if I'm bored, then I'm agitated, and I am not calm.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing I can think of about summer I don't enjoy. Now as an adult,
sure, yeah.
As a kid, summer was like a big vacation, and now it's just you get to work when you're hot, like you said. It's just hot, and as my friend David has pointed out, in Oregon, we live in a valley, so when it gets hot, it gets hot. And so, yeah.
But I would rather be hot than cold. But we don't agree.
And I'm the opposite
You're
of
the
that
opposite,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Icicles are fine for me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But I really loved some of the things in the summer when I lived overseas. I got to be a translator one summer. I got to play a lot of music. So as I was a teenager, I just really enjoyed that time living overseas and just experiencing some of that. And yeah, nowadays though, I'm really bored. It's more like there's too many things to choose from, and then I get, what do I do?
You get overwhelmed.
I get decision fatigue. Yeah, so.
Yeah,
and as I'm musicians, trying to be less whiny. I'm trying to really work on being a less whiny person.
You are. You're succeeding at that.
Am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
You sounded like you weren't
I wanted
really
to
committed
pause
to
and
the
give
answer.
you an honest answer. Yeah. Well, and when we do, usually during the summer is when venues play outdoor shows. And so we're usually really busy during the summer, which is a great thing. I love being busy during the summer.
I love playing outdoors too, because I don't know, it seems like it's just fun for, especially when people start dancing outside, and it's just super fun. I am so grateful for summers here, especially because you can just be outside so much, and there's many other rainy days of the year when you can't be. So I am all about bring on the sun. And then of course we get whiny when it gets too hot.
Yes.
But humans don't have to. You don't have to go very long for there to be an opportunity to whine. But I am really, really working on that.
All right. Well, it seems there's something about summer. There just is. Like, that gives you permission to do stuff. It gives you permission to try things. What is it about summer that, like, gives permission?
Oh.
Like, I'm trying to think about how summer connects to creativity.
Well, I think a lot of people, especially if whether they're teachers or they have kids, for a lot of folks, they have time off.
Right.
So that's not necessarily true for a lot of people, but it is often a very common time of year when people go on vacation. And I think that sometimes when you slow down, you can kind of be more open to just maybe doing things that you don't normally do when you're working. So, but like for us, that's not really.
No.
Generally, the summer's not different than the rest of the year, really. So I don't necessarily associate it, but I do think that being outside more is just so much better. So I don't know. What do you think the creativity?
Well, part of it is I think we are all like kind of generationally conditioned to think about summer as like freedom.
Right.
You know, our brain just kind of immediately locks in there. So I think it would be cool to be able to cultivate, okay, if my brain's already going in this direction, how do it's a chance to really experience new things, to store up, to have inspiration. Whereas when you're in like work mode, it's like getting stuff done. It's like you're putting out rather than taking in. So
what I think would be good is what can happen is if you wait, then you kind of build it up in your mind, and then there's so much pressure put on this week or two of vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Though that, let's face it, it's just rarely going to ever turn out and meet expectations. And then it's disappointing. Shoot. Speaking of Chevy Chase, Vacation, all those movies, clearly evidence that when you hold. So I think what would be great is throughout the year, if you're someone who takes time off in the summer, it would be great if throughout the year, rather than not do any kind of sense of creativity or experiencing that idea of freedom to try things out, to kind of incorporate it throughout the whole year. That way you're not putting so much pressure on the summertime when you're not sweating, as usual.
Well, that's true.
Or I remember dying of thirst. That was the one. That was that summer memory. I was convinced I was dying of thirst when this was We went on a hike. This is after Mount St. Helens had erupted, but there was a portion that we had to hike up, and it was so hot. There was no shade. I had nothing to drink, and I was convinced that I was dying of thirst. Dying, guys.
I feel like this tends to happen when you hike.
I did not have my 32 a.m. p.m. squirt bottle refill.
So you're basically saying you require
a 32 ounce squirt bottle of Diet Coke.
I'm going to remember this next time we go hiking together, so that way it doesn't happen.
No. What are you referring to? What on earth are you... What are you talking about? What are you lying to the people about?
I'm not lying to the people.
What do you mean?
Just that way if we're on a hike and you start to feel like you're dying.
When was the last time this ever happened in my adulthood? You know, I think that you are making up stories.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, exactly. You just think it sounds funny.
It does sound funny.
We'll just have to see. I'll just die silently. I'll silently sigh.
You're silently sigh.
I will silently sigh in the middle of the woods with a parched throat.
You do know that you said it. Okay.
Lacking chemically enhanced liquid. Because, frankly, Diet Coke, I don't know that there's anything real in that. So I'll just silently sigh.
So you're intentionally saying silently sigh now, right? Not silently die?
Yeah, I said it on accident once, and then didn't you hear the tone? I
just wanted to...
You think I can't say silently die? I can silently die. I can silently sigh and die of dehydration. And then how will you feel about it?
I will feel terrible.
Yeah, you better. You'll have to find a new whining hiking buddy.
So you're saying to do like summer as a verb during the year. Like try to intentionally. I mean, are you just advocating for little mini vacations, or are there ways to practically do this?
Oh, well, let's see. What did I actually mean? I think that whether it's a mini vacation, yeah, especially if you're whatever your job is or finances, I think if you can take a couple days throughout the year, or really have kind of a Sabbath day every week, or even if it's just a little bit of time every week, or at least once a month, where you kind of just enjoy and just, the spirit of summer. Don't silently die.
Don't silently die.
Did that make sense?
Yeah,
Did you figure out what I meant?
I think so. I just wanted to clarify, make sure
Well, I don't know. I don't often know what I mean.
Well, I think I knew what you meant there. I think that's what I mean.
I just mean that sometimes when you hold it in and like, this better be the best vacation ever because I've waited all year.
That's a guaranteed fail.
That's a guarantee that it's probably going to be terrible.
Yep.
Probably going to, probably just going to be disappointing because you're building it up in your mind.
That's true.
Or, what I do is take more books than a human could possibly read.
Oh, man, I do the same thing.
Because I want to have options. So many options.
And then those options mean I do nothing but watch TV.
I just stare at them. I know. So maybe bring 1 or 2 books or 1 or 2 creative projects versus 17 of them.
I think that's really good advice.
This is all the things I've done wrong.
Well, no, I do the same thing. I absolutely do the same thing. So, yeah. Well, what we're going to do is I'm trying to think through what summer vacation sounds like.
Oh,
whining. So we're going to play a little instrumental.
It sounds like whining and then silent death.
That's going to sound like none of those things. We're going to play a little instrumental for you, and hopefully that'll help you enjoy and settle in to summer. We'll see you soon.
3, 1, 2, 3.